Alrighty everybody, in today's episode and in the next 4 videos I'm going to be posting, this is going to be from last year, 2023. I actually partnered with Armstrong brackets, Armstrong Nautical products, and I filmed a little TV show with Mission Boating, and the host was George Labonte, and we used my boat. So what we did was, you guys remember I had that old porta bracket on the boat, and I really did not like the way it was performing, and it wasn't right for my application. So I got hooked up with Armstrong Nautical products, and we made a custom Armstrong bracket to put on the back of my boat, and it couldn't have worked out any better. Got a new paint job and a bunch of other stuff, underwater lights, everything. Really cool experience and amazing time filming with those guys. We are going to dive into all professionally filmed and edited by Mission Boating. They also just recently started a YouTube channel. You can go check them out. I have a link in the description below. It's Mission Boating on YouTube. The next 4 videos are going to be epic. Stay tuned. Let's dive into them.
If you're experiencing performance issues with your outboard powered boat, such as transom squat or trouble getting up on plane, often a solution to that is adding a flotation bracket to your transom. Now, we're here today to take a look at this 25 Parker that's got a bracket on it, but it's not a flotation bracket. We're going to fit this boat with an Armstrong flotation bracket, but before we do, we're going to run some numbers on the boat and do a little performance spec and see how much of a difference this makes. Stick around. I'm George Labonte, and this is Mission Boating. We're joined today by Adam.mellusi. Adam's actually a friend of mine and the host of a very popular YouTube channel called Move and Weight Fishing. You might have seen it. Adam, you're experiencing some problems with your boat performance-wise here, and we're trying to tackle those problems one thing at a time, and a lot of it's going to be attributed to what's going on back here. Why don't you tell me what you're going through?
So George, you know, a lot of days I'm really heavy on this boat, running guided trips, 5 people on the boat, whether I'm commercial fishing, 1,000+ pounds of fish in the boat, I'm weighted down. Now, with that being said, I got twin 200s on the boat. I'm really weighted down. I'm sitting real ass heavy in the boat. So I do believe I need an Armstrong to lift the back up a little bit, because through the back of my scuppers, I'm taking in water, and especially when I'm going off to get on plane, it takes a little bit longer to get out of the hole, a little bit of longer punch shot. I think my performance numbers are going to go up with an Armstrong, but yeah, right now I just know I'm sitting lower in the water than I should be, and I have draining issues, floor well issues because of it, and it's just opening doors of problems for me.
Understood. Now, I know when you got the boat, it had 140 horse motors on the back, and it's already got a bracket on there, but that's a porta bracket, I mean, and that serves a purpose. Where the boat came from on the West Coast, they go in a lot of shallow water, but that's not helping you out here. You recently upgraded to 200 horse motors. You're adding a lot of weight back there, and we're here today to really kind of run some numbers and do some before and after performance numbers here and see just how much of a difference the addition of this Armstrong bracket is really going to make for you.
I totally agree, George. I couldn't have said it any better. You know, like you said, there's nothing wrong with the porta bracket. It just doesn't fit this application. We all believe it is going to make quite the difference, and we're going to find out. I
think you're going to be pleasantly surprised. In fact, the boat builder, this actual boat, they now use Armstrong brackets as their standard bracket when they build the boats new. So it's been tested before. We just haven't seen it on this particular boat. But why don't we get started and do a little bit of running around and get some notes and see what we're up against.
Let's put the boat in the water and go. George, I didn't know we were going to the water park today.
Yeah, right off the bat, we're not even off the dock yet, and I'm glad that I wore my Crocs today.
You're going to need to on this boat.
Well, why don't we roll out and get started, man?
Let's go, let's do it. All right, George, so I think first we're going to start off by trying out a couple hole shots. We're going to run some numbers and see how long it takes to get up on plane. What do you think?
Yeah, if we do like 3 or 4, start from dead idle here, we can kind of average out the numbers and get an idea just how long it's going to take us to get planed and leveled off. Okay, Adam, I've got the stopwatch set up right here, so I'll handle the time here and you handle the control. So
Perfect.
When we take off to go, I'm gonna start it, and then when we're fully leveled off here, I'll stop it. You wanna drive or you want me to?
Either way, doesn't matter to me.
Go ahead, knock
All
yourself
right,
out,
let's
Skip.
do it.
You say when.
When?
Okay.
Little delay there.
11.04 seconds.
And how much, what are we looking for, George?
Well, you know what, that's subjective. I mean, does it get out of the hole quick enough? Do you feel like you're burning a lot of fuel to get out of the hole? Now, it was a little sluggish getting started. I wouldn't say it was horrible, but I think there's room for improvement here.
Same here.
So why don't we spin it around and we'll do like 2 or 3 more and we'll get an average. So we'll record this as 11.04 for our first
Sounds
go.
good, yeah. And like George said, it's not horrible, but it could be better. Oh, we got somebody charging us here, George.
Here they come. Pirates of the Caribbean.
Really coming straight for us here.
They're tired of us running back and forth.
Yeah, they got the fenders on there ready to tie up and everything, Chris. We're going. Sea-Pro crew's going.
Okay, good to go. All right, let's let his boat weight go by here.
Yep. You ready, George?
Yep.
Let her rip.
$10.59. So we're kind of right there in the ballpark. I mean, all there, 10 to 11 seconds. I mean, that would probably work out to be the average. We'll do the official calculation here.
So George,
10.5 seconds.
What am I looking for most efficient wise? Like, let's say best case scenario, what am I looking for whole shot?
You know, it depends from boat to boat, Adam. I mean, ideally what you want to do is not have to dog it and slog it and push a bunch of water in order to get the bow down and get really planed out. And also the fuel burn while you're doing that is going to be a consideration too.
Sure.
So there's not a magic number. Like, you shouldn't, this isn't a drag racing boat.
Right.
So you're not trying to say like, well, I want to do a 6-second quarter mile, but you want to get up as quickly as you can and feel like you're running at peak efficiency throughout the entire process.
I totally agree.
Okay, Adam, the next thing that I want to check is what RPM do you need to maintain to stay on plane? And how fast are you going to plane off? And also what kind of fuel burn we're getting. And to address that situation, you know, why that's important is you obviously want to be able to plane at the lowest RPM possible. There's going to be days where you go outside and it's rough and you can't run. I mean, if you had to go 40 miles an hour to keep the boat on plane, there's many days you can't run that fast. And also, you know, you can run it at a lower RPM. It's going to be a lot easier on the engines and prolong their life. And of course, the fuel burn, that's self-explanatory. So why don't we have a look at that right now?
Let's do it.
Now, the next statistic that we wanted to see was the actual speed required to keep the boat up on plane. And that speed happened to be 23 miles an hour, and that was running the boat at 3,600 RPMs. The fuel economy at that range was 2.1 miles per gallon. Now, another number we want to look at is what is the sweet spot for running at cruise speed for this boat? And that's running between 3,500 and 4,000 RPMs. The boat was at 2.1 miles per gallon, anywhere within that range. The speed ranged from 21 miles an hour to 30 miles an hour. Obviously, 30 miles an hour at 2.1 miles per gallon would be the optimum speed to run the boat. Running the boat at 4,500 RPMs decreased to 1.8 miles per gallon, and at the top speed, the fuel economy went down to 1.1 miles per gallon. So obviously, for Adam, that 30-mile zone is the sweet spot for him to run the boat at. Okay, Adam, now as far as, you know, performance numbers, I think we've got all the information we need, but I'd like to point out too something that I like to look at myself, and that's just kind of the tangibles on a boat, like the way it feels, the way the boat runs and rides, how it handles in close quarters, and that's going to vary from person to person. But all those things there, I mean, I've got a sense of it. The boat handles pretty good. I don't see any issues with the way the thing handles. Like at the dock, it handles good. Going into turns, it's real grippy, but I do notice a lot of water there. I mean, every time we turn, there's a ton of water. You know, so that's something that we definitely need to look at down the road. have you got a good benchmark in your brain? Like, you've been running the boat for a while. Like, I want you to remember how the boat acts under all those circumstances. One thing that was absolutely a constant is there was always water in the cockpit, and we want to see if we can put an end to that. But other than that, we'll start with this as a benchmark and then see what the difference is going to be once we add the bracket. Now, the next thing we got to do is bring the boat to Armstrong and have them measure it, because that's really critical. A part of, you know, this whole process is making sure that the bracket is a right fit for the boat. So they've got numbers already because they do it on this boat, but we want to make sure we get all that stuff squared away before we take the existing bracket off and move to the new one. You follow?
I totally agree with everything you said, George. Like you said, it's not that the boat's not performing properly. We could just upgrade its performance a little bit, and we'd like to avoid water on my deck, and we'd like to avoid water splashing on the motor. So those are a couple things we're going to look for when we put the Armstrong on the boat. And I do have kind of a benchmark of where we're at right now and how the boat performs, and I will definitely notice if there is a difference. I'll notice the difference.
I'm curious to see myself.
Let's go over to Armstrong and then we'll get started there.
Up next, we meet with the bracket experts, Armstrong Nautical Marine, for proper guidance on measuring for a custom bracket build. Think a flotation bracket would improve the performance of your boat? Make sure to subscribe to follow the full transformation of Adam Mellusi's Parker project.
Mission Boating, the ultimate marine resource.